Excuse me, we're wanted for pack crimes.
Hey guys, welcome to Heart and Chops, and this is my first video. I'm going to be doing a few different types of videos here on this channel, but to get my sea legs, I thought I'd start with something simple. Pie. It's the beginning of apple season here on beautiful Vancouver Island, British Columbia. Since we're starting out simple, I decided to go with a standby recipe that I've baked a few times from Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat by Samin Nosrat. Since that recipe is in a very awesome book and I only steal apples, not recipes, I'm not going to publish it for now, although I am going to be providing recipes moving forward on this channel. What we are going to be talking about today is method, because pie is all about method. In her book, Samin provides a fantastic recipe for an all-butter pastry. The key to pastry is keeping everything cold at all times, even if you have to take a break in the middle to let things chill in the fridge between steps. So here I'm cutting the butter into small cubes and putting them on a plate in the fridge. Cutting the butter and manipulating it with your hands warms it up a bit around the edges and it'll start to soften, so letting it get nice and solid back in the fridge again before blending it with the flour is always a step that I make time for. Let's take a moment here. The key to flaky pastry is that the fat is suspended in a dough made from flour and water. When the pastry bakes, the fat melts and creates little pockets between the layers of dough, and this makes the flakes you're after. If the butter melts enough to get blended with the flour and the water, it's not going to be flaky, and you might as well just go home and cry yourself to sleep because your father was right and you'll never amount to anything. Anyway, I used to be a purist and use a hand tool called a pastry cutter to cut the butter into the flour, but now I use a food processor because it takes less time and this means the butter stays colder. I pulse it a few times and I check it with my hands until it resembles the texture of coarse sand with some large chickpea-sized bits in it. Then I blend it with some ice water until it just comes together. At this point, things are feeling nice and cold as I use my hands to help press it all together into a cohesive ball, which I then divide into two, wrap in plastic wrap, and put in the fridge to chill for at least a couple of hours. Okay, that's the hard part done. Okay, yeah, that's not actually the hard part done because now we have to peel, core, and cut 2.5 pounds of stolen apples. After we've prepped the apples, it's time to add the flavors and the spices and the sugars and some flour to thicken the juices and stir it all up. Some people feel the need to cook the apples before they go into the pie, and that's cool, but it's a whole style, but we're not going to do that today. Okay, moving on. I like to butter the pie dish and then dust it with flour before putting the bottom crust in. I think this helps with the slices coming out cleaner. I don't know. Roll out the bottom pastry, put it in the dish, and then put that back in the fridge while you do the second layer. Remember, we're keeping things really cold here. Okay, the top layer is rolled out, and you can fill the dish with the filling and then put the top crust on top. I'm making a wonky lattice because that's just the mood that I've been in with my pies lately. You do you. Here, I'm folding the bottom edge over the top edge and crimping them both together with a fork before cutting off the excess and then pinching things into a little pointy pattern situation. A totally optional step at this point is to brush the pie down with cream, egg, or a mixture of both as I'm doing here. This helps the pie come out nice and golden and shiny. So if you're feeling really extra, you can sprinkle the pie with white sugar or demerara sugar for an added crunchy sweetness on the crust, and it kind of helps things caramelize nicer and helps with the color. Okay, into the oven at 375, maybe 350 if you have a super hot oven. However long it takes to look good, really. I mean, I personally think that putting timings on recipes is bullshit because then it creates a false expectation of how long things should take when really you should just use your judgment.